What do you call a team that breaks 6 records in one night, without its superstar even touching the floor? The Indiana Fever just answered that question, and they didn't just win, they humiliated their biggest rival. A 92-70 demolition of the Chicago Sky that left the scoreboard lopsided, the crowd roaring and Angel Reese's squad looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. This wasn't a lucky night, it was calculated, ruthless, and led by players most people didn't even have on their radar. From Aaliyah Boston turning the paint into a no-fly zone, to Lexie Hull sniping from deep, to Kelsey Mitchell running the show like a one-woman wrecking crew. And even a rookie making her mark in just 7 minutes. This was a statement. And if you think this was impressive, just wait until you see what happens when Caitlin Clark is back on the floor with them. When Indiana and Chicago meet, it's never just another game. It's a collision of pride, trash talk, and a rivalry that's been brewing hotter with every season. The Sky came into this matchup with one clear advantage, or so they thought. Caitlin Clark wasn't playing. For weeks, critics have said the Fever live and die by their superstar. That without her floor vision and shooting, they'd be exposed. But history should have warned them. This wasn't the first time Indiana had made Chicago pay. In fact, the Fever had already beaten the Sky 3 straight times this season, and 7 of their last 8 over the past 2 years. Each loss chipped away at Chicago's confidence. But this one? This was different. From the opening tip, it felt less like a rivalry and more like a mismatch. Indiana didn't just control the game, they dictated the pace, the energy, and the scoreboard. By halftime, the Sky weren't just down on points, they were down in body language. Heads dropped, hands on hips, no answers in sight. And the Fever weren't done. They had 6 different milestones in reach, and every single player seemed determined to get theirs. The message was loud and clear: we're not a one-player team, and we can bury you without her. From the first possession, Chicago learned the hard way. If you come into Aaliyah Boston's paint, you're leaving with nothing. Boston wasn't just defending, she was erasing. Every drive, every post-up, every hopeful layup, gone. In just her 3rd season, she's already climbed to 3rd all-time in Fever history for career blocks. 32 in only 112 games. That's dominance you can't fake. And for Boston, this matchup had a little extra flavor. She's been battling Camila Cardoso since their South Carolina days. And the moment she saw that familiar face, the competitive switch flipped. To her, this wasn't just about stopping a shot, it was about sending a message. I own this matchup. Always have, always will. One possession summed it up perfectly. Cardoso catches the ball deep, goes up strong, and Boston swats it so clean the ball ricochets back toward half court. The crowd exploded. The Sky froze, and the Fever instantly turned it into points on the other end. By the second quarter, Chicago stopped even trying to challenge her at the rim. Mid-range floaters, awkward pull-ups, rushed threes, all because Boston had shut the door inside. Her timing is surgical. She never bites on fakes, never lunges herself out of position. It's discipline that doesn't just protect the rim, it gets in the opponent's head. Possession after possession, the Sky's frustration grew. Misses turned into Indiana rebounds, and every block made Boston's presence feel bigger. And the best part? This wasn't even her whole game. She was setting screens, rolling to the rim, and powering through defenders for easy layups. She wasn't just the anchor, she was the engine. The paint belonged to Boston, and Chicago had nowhere left to go. But while Boston locked down the inside, someone else was turning the perimeter into her personal shooting gallery. If Boston was the wall inside, Lexie Hull was the storm on the perimeter. Chicago couldn't take a breath on offense without her closing in, and they couldn't relax on defense without her making them pay from deep. This night was her coming out party, a perfect blend of offense and defense. Not only did she notch her 100th career steal, she also dropped a season high in points, hitting 17 on 5 of 9 shooting, including 4 from beyond the arc. That's not just production, that's punishing your opponent every time they make the smallest mistake. Hull's shooting rhythm was ruthless. In the second quarter, she curled off a screen, caught the ball, and splashed a 3 before the defender even had time to react. Later, from the deep corner, she drained one over an outstretched hand that sent the crowd into a frenzy. And just when Chicago thought they'd run her off the line, she punished them by cutting inside or swinging the ball for an even better look. Her defense was just as sharp. That milestone steal didn't come from luck. It came from anticipation. She read the play before it unfolded, jumped the passing lane, and in one motion flipped the possession into points for Indiana. It's the kind of sequence that takes the wind out of an opponent and turns a comfortable lead into a runaway. By the fourth quarter, every time the ball left her hands, the Sky bench winced. And when she buried her final three of the night from well beyond the arc, it wasn't just another bucket. It was the dagger. The Sky looked broken, the Fever bench was on its feet, and the game felt over long before the clock ran out. But while Hull was firing from deep, Indiana's leading scorer was cooking up something even more dangerous, a double-duty performance that left Chicago with no way out. Kelsey Mitchell didn't just show up to score. She showed up to run the show. With Caitlin Clark out, she became the Fever's heartbeat on offense, balancing two jobs at once, hunting her own shot and setting the table for everyone else. The result? 26 points, a season-high 8 assists, and the top spot on the WNBA's scoring leaderboard. This wasn't just a good night. It was proof that Mitchell can dominate from any angle. From the opening quarter, she set the tone. On one play, she drove hard into the lane, drawing both defenders like magnets, then kicked the ball to Lexie Hull for a wide-open three. Moments later, she flipped the switch, curling off a screen to hit a quick pull-up jumper before the defense could reset. Chicago couldn't keep up. Every possession felt like a guessing game. They kept losing. Her chemistry with Aaliyah Boston was just as lethal. Running the pick and roll, Mitchell delivered perfectly timed lobs and bounce passes that sliced through the defense. Boston didn't even have to adjust. The ball was right where it needed to be. And when Sophie Cunningham handled the ball for a few possessions, it let Mitchell slide back into pure attack mode. In those moments, she was unstoppable, pulling up from mid-range, stepping back for threes, and finishing tough layups in traffic. It's one thing to lead in scoring, it's another to run the offense like a seasoned point guard. While doing it, Mitchell didn't just fill a role, she expanded it, making Indiana's offense unpredictable, fluid, and impossible to lock down. But while she was carving up the Sky's defense, one rookie was making her presence felt in a very different way by owning the boards in limited minutes and giving the Fever an edge Chicago couldn't recover from. 7 minutes. That's all Michaela Timson needed to leave a fingerprint on this game. She didn't come in to score. She came in to fight for every loose ball, rip rebounds out of traffic, and give Indiana extra possessions they had no business getting. By the time she checked out, she'd pulled down a career high in rebounds, all in under a quarter of play. It wasn't just the numbers, it was when and how she got them. A missed shot in heavy traffic? Timson was there, wedging herself between taller opponents to snatch it away. A defensive stop that could have turned into a Chicago second chance. She sealed her player under the rim, grabbed the board, and fired the outlet pass to start the break before the Sky even realized what happened. Her energy was contagious. The starters got to rest without the Fever losing momentum, and Chicago's frustration kept boiling over. Every rebound was like a little reminder. Even the rookie on this roster was outworking them. It's hustle like this that doesn't always make the highlight reels, but it wins games, especially in playoff-style matchups where every possession counts. And when you add Timson's grit to Boston's wall in the paint, Hull's perimeter sniping, and Mitchell's all-around brilliance, you start to see why this game was more than just a win. It was a warning. For weeks, the narrative around the Fever was simple. Without Caitlin Clark, they're just another team. Chicago came into this game expecting that version of Indiana, thin on offense, shaky under pressure, easy to push around. Instead, they ran into a roster that played like they had something to prove. Boston shut down the paint like it was under lock and key. Hull lit up the perimeter and ripped away possessions on defense. Mitchell ran the offense with surgical precision while still torching the scoreboard. And Timson brought the kind of hustle that makes opponents quit on play. It wasn't survival without Clark, it was domination. A 22-point blowout in a rivalry game, breaking 6 different records and sweeping the Sky for the season. That's not a happy accident. That's a team built for more than one star spotlight. And here's the part that should keep the rest of the league up at night. When Clark comes back, she's stepping into a lineup that's already firing on every cylinder. The depth is there, the chemistry is there, the confidence is through the roof. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement. The Fever aren't just here to make the playoffs. They're here to hit the postseason already battle-tested, already dangerous, and ready to bury anyone who underestimates them. If they can humiliate their biggest rival without their superstar, imagine what happens when she's back on the court feeding Boston inside, finding Hull on the wing, setting up Mitchell for open looks, and turning Timson's hustle plays into instant offense. For Chicago, this season's sweep might be just the beginning of a very one-sided rivalry. For the rest of the WNBA, it's a warning shot. From the first tip to the final buzzer, Indiana didn't just play basketball, they set the tone for how this rivalry is going to feel from now on. 4 wins over Chicago this season, 7 of the last 8 across 2 years. And this one, the most lopsided yet. This game proved something bigger than the box score. It proved that depth isn't just about having names on a roster. It's about having players who can step into the spotlight at any moment and not just hold the line, but push it further. Boston's paint protection, Hull's hot hand, Mitchell's dual-threat takeover, Timson's hustle minutes that felt like hours to the sky. Every single one of them turned a tough, without Clark narrative into a we might be even scarier when she's gone reality. So when Caitlin Clark steps back on the floor, it won't just be about her superstar skills. It'll be about adding a weapon to a team that's already locked, loaded, and hunting. And if Chicago thinks this was bad, they better hope they don't meet Indiana when the stakes are even higher. If you've got the fever, let everyone know in the comments. Smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because this isn't the peak, this is the warm-up.